Hello, I'm Nonna Luciana and welcome to my home. In my episodes, I'll share with you some recipes, some traditional recipes for special occasions. And today's special occasion is the 1st of Advent. So before I start with my recipe, I will light the first candle. It is a purple candle symbolizing royalty, and it's the candle of hope. So from my basement kitchen, where I experiment a lot of recipes, I'm going to show you today one of the recipes that I have mastered. So very simple and easy and very tasty. I have the ingredients here, and it is sour cherry, and these sour cherries are already pitted and frozen. Well, when I was a child, we used to get sour cherries with the pit inside, and we used to, with this machine, we used to remove the pits and have them in a muslin bag. But today we have them already frozen and pitted, so no pits and frozen. The bags I buy are 2.5 kilos. I will make the jam with 1.5 kilo, and 1 kilo I will reserve for a later recipe, and it's going to be a surprise. So this one I will remove and I will use with a later recipe. So I have here my 1.5 kilos of sour cherries, and to this I will add jam sugar. Now, jam sugar is a crystal sugar mixed together with pectin, which is the product that will jellify and set the jam. You can buy it in supermarkets now, and if we go back in time, the pectin was in the pits. It used to be, it's in the pits and the skin of the fruit. But since we're not using pits today, and to make it easier, then we can buy ready sugar that will do or set the jam with proportions that are studied, and all the materials are natural. So the day before I make the cherry jam, I mix the frozen cherry with the sugar, and I do that by mixing some cherries and some of the sugar, and some cherries, some of the sugar, more cherries, the minimum amount of sugar to the fruit you can do is 60%. So if you have 1 kilo of fruit, you should use minimum of 600 grams. And you can go up to equal amounts, 1 kilo of fruit to 1 kilo of sugar. This is the proportion for a good and tasty jam. But for my family, we chose that this proportion is the best. It's still a little bit sour, not too sweet, but not too sour. This I will do it the night before or in the morning if I'm going to cook the cherry in the evening. The more you keep them, the better it is. It's for the sugar to dissolve in the jam before cooking. It is very important when you start cooking a jam that there are no crystals. So yesterday I prepared 1.5 kilos and this is how they look today. You can see the sugar has dissolved with the cherry and there are no more crystals. That's very important, that there are no more crystals. In case you feel that there are more crystals, you can simmer on a very low heat until you feel that the whole sugar is dissolving. You can see that we have on the edges some more crystals, and for that I will take a brush and brush off all the crystals on the edges. And I keep a cold water container for all my utensils that I'm using in the jam, so that there are no more crystals on any of them. When I'm sure that all the crystals are dissolved, now the jam is ready to cook. Now I'm going to transfer the jam to be cooked in my jam pot. And this is a very important pot because it has a solid base and a smaller circumference in the bottom, and it will help with the jam cooking evenly, and the excess water can evaporate quicker. So I will transfer it. And as you can see, I don't make big quantities. This jam pot is just the size enough for 1.5 kilos. For many reasons. I have a family, I'm a mom and a working mom. So if I'm going to make big quantities, it's going to take forever. So small quantities, and with all the help I can get from the sugar, which is already mixed with pectin, and the jam pot, which is special, it will make me keep the traditions in a very short time. Well, the pits, which usually were the pectin releaser, they usually were put together with usual sugar, crystal sugar, and tied to the pot. And it didn't need to be a specific pot. So usually they tied it to release the pectin while cooking from the pot. But I used jam sugar, so I will not need the pits. I will just remove them and show you how I make my jam. And of course, I will remove all the extra excess from the sides or from the walls of the jam pot. It's very important to keep clean. And another important thing is I will have my food thermometer. I will put it as soon as it starts boiling, because I have, after the jam boils, it has to keep a temperature of 105. It is the best temperature for setting a jam. From my magic box, I will add to my jam a cinnamon stick, and this is optional. We like the jam with a cinnamon stick, and I put it whole as it is because I will remove it when the jam is set. We like the taste of the cherries with the cinnamon. It's very nice. So I'll put back my magic box. So the moment of truth has arrived, and I'll put to a boil my jam. We begin with a very high heat to enable the jam to boil, and I will use a wooden spoon now. I don't want to scratch my precious jam pot. I will always check that my edges are clean. When the jam comes to a boil, a complete boil, I will have to check the temperature, and this is why I will use a thermometer, and 105 is the best temperature for the jam to set. More than 105, it will inactivate the pectin, and less than 105, it will give you a runny jam. So first I will wait until it completely boils, and in case while boiling you will see some froth on the surface, we can remove it with a ladle. I always check that my edges are clean, and from time to time until it comes to a complete boil. So while the jam is coming to a boil, I will preheat my oven to 75 degrees Celsius, and I will put my glass jars that I've already washed in the dishwasher inside to sterilize. And of course you can use nice jars. You can use any jar you like, and they can be big, they can be small. The important thing is to sterilize the jars, and I usually do that on a preheated oven at 75 degrees, and it is for preservation of the jam. So now the temperature is 105, and if I stir a little bit, it will go down very quickly. So, and this is good so that you won't exceed 105. And I will keep simmering the fruit 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, we can test. As you can see, the juice is running from the spoon. And when the jam is set, you will see that jam in the spoon will not run easily. You will have a drop, and this means that the marmalade has set. It needs a little bit more time. So actually my jams are set after 20 minutes. The most important thing is to keep your temperature between 100 and 110. And if the heat doesn't go down by mixing only, so just put down the heat a little bit to help the temperature not exceeding 105 too long. So as you can see, now it is 10 minutes before the jam sets, and you can see that we have 2 drops, and they are taking much longer time to drip in the jam pot. So I think this is starting to jellify. So now after 20 minutes, I just test the jam and see if it's set. In my opinion, that's very good. So I had a low temperature simmering for 20 minutes while stirring the whole time. I put off the heat, and now it's time for putting the jam in jars. Now I'll put the jam in a pitcher to make it easier for me to put it in the jars. And I stir to get some of the cherry together with the juice. So now we're ready to put the jam, the wonderful jam, in the jars. And be careful not to burn your hands, because they are quite hot. They are sterilized now. So that's enough. I will fill the jars to enjoy this beautiful cherry jam later. It is a wonderful jam that we use with cheese in our evenings on Advents. I always stir to get the juice and some of the cherry. Don't worry about the mess. I will clean that up. Oh, it looks yummy and it smells gorgeous. So that's perfect. And then I put the lid on and I go on. It's good to have some jars which are small. They are very good for presents, and they are very good to have on the table. And I put the lid on. Those jars which have a little hole here, you need to wait until the jam is cool before closing the jar. And they are not very good for long preserving. You can use them directly or within the few weeks, but not to preserve. Those other jars that are sealed, those you can preserve, and it's good to close them while they're hot. And you can preserve these, so just start by eating those and then use the other ones. So here I'm filling up with my last jar. Oh, look what I found. I forgot to take my cinnamon stick. And here it is. so. I have some cherries here. Oh, it smells great. This is my take on sour cherry jam. I hope you've enjoyed watching and really hope that you will try it. If you do, just let me know and give me of your thoughts. But don't forget to subscribe and ciao, see you next time.